With dauntless spirit, Moana eagerly explores the enigmatic island, her deep-seated yearning to unveil new realms and reunite communities with the ocean, echoing her forebears' legacy, propelling her onward. While walking, she inadvertently treads on a small, serene crab, which, fortunately, remains unscathed. Although her devoted pig was clearly weary, Moana showed unwavering courage, carrying him up the arduous incline. Having conquered the challenging climb, she at last gains the summit, finding her perpetually curious and proud rooster already there. Perched atop, Moana beholds the breathtaking panorama unfolding before her. Bringing the conch shell to her mouth, she blows a long blast, hoping the distant islanders will hear her call on the wind, but only silence answers. Moana's hope never wavers. She secretly believes someone will eventually respond. While appearing to be a reply, the sound actually originates from her playful rooster, now captivated by an oddity, an age-old VZ embellished with cryptic depictions of unknown human forms. Moana's excitement swells, for she understands this revelation may unlock proof of undiscovered civilizations. With a determined glint in her eyes, she urged her loyal companions to hasten their return home. A crowd of individuals is waiting patiently. As Moana and her companions approach their island home, she bursts into song with irrepressible energy. Her parents, Tu'ei and Sina, spearhead the villagers' joyous welcome, erupting into a vibrant song alongside her that honors unity and community. One of them is Emo, a youthful dreamer enthralled by the island's lore. He considers himself to be Maui and Moana's biggest admirer, and hopes to encounter the legendary demigod in person someday. As Moana arrives on the beach, her father welcomes her with a mixture of pride and inquisitiveness, anxious to learn about her discoveries. Displaying the enigmatic VZ with unwavering determination and a spark of wonder, she believes it's definitive proof of extraterrestrial civilizations and pledges to relentlessly pursue contact, regardless of current obstacles. At that moment, her younger sister, Saa, arrives, gently chiding her with a blend of affection and disapproval. She claims Moana's absence feels like years, despite it only being 3 days. Moana subsequently guides Saa to her ancestors' revered and historical sanctuary, the very place where Moana discovered her heritage. Wandering through the sacred space, Moana recounts to her sister her past mission, the extraordinary journey of restoring the heart of Te Fiti, a transformative experience. With a curious tone, Samaya inquired about the duration. Moana's smile suggests a mere few weeks, but that feels like an eternity to Saa, who can't contain her frustration. Her voice brimming with excitement, Moana launched into an enthralling tale. Ages before Maui's theft of Te Fiti's heart, their ancestor, the fabled Tatai Pasa, envisioned uniting all ocean peoples through its boundless waters. Entrusted with a sacred quest derailed by fate, Moana now bears the weight of responsibility. She details her responsibilities to Saa, who, with childlike simplicity, proposes Maui assume the duty, allowing Moana to remain on the island with her. With unwavering courage, Moana carefully conveys that Maui bears his own demigod duties, and this particular destiny belongs solely to her. Now in Maui, he undertakes a perilous quest, seeking the gateway to the legendary island of Motu. Matangi is obstructing his path. A time-worn sentinel safeguards the gateway. However, Matangi declines, asserting that he must first see Moana, his former partner. Maui is attempting to weasel his way out of this predicament. Maui brazenly fabricates a tale, asserting he merely exploited Moana to recover his enchanted fishhook, and further ridicules her rooster. Changing his approach, he then clarified the core problem. A wicked deity named Nalo has enveloped Mota Fetu in a lethal, dark storm. Maui vehemently denies Moana's involvement, yet Matangi cuts him off. She reminds him that he was instrumental in Moana's development as a skilled navigator, making her indispensable to the current mission. Moana has returned to her island, radiating joy as she shares new dance steps with her people, deepening their bonds. Once she's done, Tu'ei, her father, comes over, beaming with pride, and hints that tonight holds something special. Moana is to be celebrated as the culminating navigator of her ancestral line, a distinction he believes is bestowed solely upon those with boundless vision. The time has come for her to demonstrate the full extent of her leadership abilities. When darkness descends, the whole island community congregates to commemorate this landmark occasion beneath a canopy of stars illuminated by the blaze of a venerable bonfire. Moana humbly embraces the mantle of Tai, breaking a long line of predecessors. The ceremony commences, honoring Moana's ascendance as the island's leader, drawing upon the wisdom of her ancestors. As Moana solemnly pledges to safeguard and unify her community through a sacred oath, the ceremony is abruptly disrupted by an unforeseen event. Suddenly, Moana found herself amidst a violent ocean tempest. As the waves crash, the skies darken ominously, and complete chaos ensues. Overwhelmed by the tempest, Moana tumbles into the sea. The landscape is barren, devoid of life, and bears no trace of its inhabitants. In this unsettling place, an ancestral voice reverberates within her thoughts. It clarifies that her vision reveals a potential future, the destiny looming over her and her people should she fail to locate the mythical island of Motu Nui and restore their connection to the islands. The ancestor reveals to her that returning T's heart marked only the beginning. Her true task is to quell the tempest consuming Motu. To accomplish this, she needs to pursue the celestial blaze, leading her to an island unreachable by her forebears. Her mission encompasses not only saving Motu Fetu, but also reuniting the islands and restoring their lost balance. Suddenly, Moana finds herself returned to the ceremony. Outwardly, all appears serene, yet her intuition tells her the vision served as a crucial warning. Driven by unshakable determination, she declares to her parents and the entire village her need to begin a quest to locate Motu Mo. With youthful exuberance, the eager storyteller launches into a rendition of an age-old saga. According to him, in ancient times, the ocean's inhabitants were united by its expansive waters, until a jealous god, Nalo, envious of their collective strength, cursed Motu with a never-ending tempest. The storm completely isolated the island, forcing residents to rely on their own resources. As the newly appointed Tatai, Moana bears the responsibility of fulfilling the mission her ancestors were unable to achieve. Despite her father's deep worry for her safety, he, like the rest of the village, has faith in her courage and strength. Immediately, all eyes turned skyward, witnessing the fiery streak and recognizing it as the definitive call to action. Caught up in the powerful emotion and hopeful atmosphere, Moana starts to sing. A potent and deeply emotional song, it portrays the beckoning sky, the pain of parting with loved ones, and the empowering conviction of fulfilling her destiny. With the task complete, the ethereal form of her grandmother appears, ever present to offer guidance and solace. Her grandmother reassures her that even though the future is unclear, her character will lead the way. Her decisions at sunrise will determine the outcome. With her people assembled, Moana boldly proclaims her voyage to locate Motu Fetu, confront the tempest, and heal the ocean's divide, vowing to return upon fulfilling her quest. At that instant, she resumes her song, solidifying her resolve to complete this journey, no matter the obstacles. Fearing the perils, Moana's mother forbids her from traveling solo, emphasizing the extreme risk of a solitary voyage. Initially reluctant, Moana relents when her mother recalls the rooster's survival on the previous journey, attributing it to his company. Ultimately, Moana concurs, understanding that proper assistance will equip her to confront future challenges. Lado, Moana's close companion, appears and enthusiastically requests to join the expedition, understanding that their sustenance requirements will extend beyond fish. Moana determines the necessity of recruiting a farmer to supply diverse provisions for the voyage, all while steeling herself to solicit Maui's assistance, rehearsing her conversational strategy. To bolster his confidence, she rehearsed her opening lines. But before she could speak, Monty, the youthful storyteller with a thirst for adventure, burst onto the scene, declaring he was joining them. At the same time, young Saa, displaying childlike innocence, pleads with Moana to accompany her. Moana tenderly clarifies that she is not yet ready to confront the perils of the ocean. Deeply moved by Moana's heartfelt words, Saa presents her with a starfish representing home and their enduring connection. Deeply moved by the offering, Moana gratefully accepts and embarks on her voyage alongside her crew. At the same time, Maui finds himself entangled in an intricate trap, exacerbated by his inability to reach his enchanted fishhook. Despite the frog's attempts to liberate him, they are unsuccessful. Though his tattoos, the embodiment of his conscience, murmur of Moana's coming rescue, he stubbornly rejects the possibility. Maui is adamant about dealing with his issues independently and prefers not to include her. Suddenly, Matangi, the villain, appeared, ridiculing his helplessness with sharp sarcasm, offering freedom while slyly revealing her desire to see Moana again. Moana returns to confront a fresh predicament. Several crew members harbor a fear of the sea, and one is actually unable to swim. With steadfast leadership and enduring patience, Moana calms their anxieties, fostering a spirit of enjoyment for the voyage ahead. A palpable sense of anticipation gradually washes over the group, but the farmer remains unconvinced. Nevertheless, Moana motivates them to persevere. Nevertheless, difficulties emerge if a powerful current deflects their canoe from its intended path. Land-like shapes materialize on the horizon, yet drawing nearer, they discover it's not the hoped-for island, but something infinitely more menacing. They face the Kakamura, diminutive yet ferocious coconut warriors who launch relentless attacks. As they narrowly evade capture, they are confronted by a far more dangerous peril, an enormous clam consuming all before it. With characteristic bravery, Moana skillfully redirects the canoe, averting disaster and successfully concealing her team. Unfortunately, while attempting to rescue the rooster from a tranquilizer dart, she is struck and briefly incapacitated. In the midst of the pandemonium, the Kakamura sees Moana and her companions, spiriting them away to their island. At their camp, the Kakamura revealed their predicament. Their island existed within the same waters as Motu Nui, yet Nalo's division of the ocean to subjugate the marine peoples had isolated them from all others. Their efforts to bridge the islands were thwarted by the giant clam, condemning them to a fearful and isolated existence. Currently, they anticipate a continued separation. For all time, save for the clam's potential downfall. Moana, a spirited and adventurous young woman. Assuming Moana and her crew succeed, the Kakamura will then help guide them to Motu. The Kakamura said their goodbyes, abandoning Moana and her crew to confront the challenge independently. Moana and her team, armed with the toxin, braced themselves for the giant clam. But upon entering its depths, a strong current overwhelmed them, scattering their supplies and disrupting their plans. In an unexpected and drastic move, within the bivalve's shell, turmoil unfolds. Amidst the violent churning and abrupt movements, they lose their grip on the toxin-laden spear. Lotto wisely brought 3 extra spears, but they too were swiftly lost in the ensuing chaos. Individually, the crew members became lost as varying currents swept them through the clam's vast interior. Moana's companions stumble into a shadowy, unknown realm. The group's leader spies a figure he thinks is a Kakamura and, with unexpected bravery, launches an assault, only to discover, to his dismay, that it's a huge monster, not one of them. They manage to liberate the demigod and recover his renowned, enchanted hook. As Moana's team was greeted by Maui, the pig unexpectedly fell from a high place. Maui announced with a grin, "Time for lunch." Suddenly, the rooster struts into view, prompting Maui to quip, "Dinner time." He quickly understands, however, that it belongs to Moana, indicating her proximity. Resolved to locate her, Maui embarks on a journey alongside the group. As Moana groggily awakens, she hallucinates her younger sister Simia, theatrically scolding her. "Moana, the entire village will forever despise you." However, she soon understands it's only a bat deceiving her vision. Suddenly, Matangi emerges, identifying herself as the protector of this secluded oceanic region. She discloses her familiarity with the route to Motafidu and offers her assistance. Matangi reveals she is held captive by the malevolent god Nalo and implores Moana to vanquish him, thus shattering the seal of her imprisonment. As she departs, Matangi offers Moana a cryptic warning. No matter what happens, there's always another way forward. Matangi subsequently ensnares Moana within a mystical sphere, revealing that Moana is required to execute a sacred dance in order to unlock the gateway to Motafedu. Just as Moana is starting, Maui and the others arrive. Buoyed by their support, Moana gathers her resolve and completes the dance, thereby opening the portal and confirming her destiny as the chosen one. With Maui at the back, the crew went through the portal individually. Before their departure, Moana invites Matangi to accompany them, but the Guardian refuses, clarifying that her magic anchors her to this location. Tinged with both resignation and hope, Matangi tells Moana that defeating Nalo could liberate her, allowing them to reunite in the future. "Sometimes, progress requires detachment, even a period of disorientation," she said as she departed. As Moana's team continues their voyage, Matangi nervously whispers to his faithful bat, "If Nalo discovers my role in her escape, we're all finished." As they journey onward, Maui starts questioning their mission. With grave concern, he cautions Moana about the unimaginable dangers that await, dangers so extreme that even he, a demigod, deems them nearly insurmountable. He berates her for disregarding his previous cautions, asserting that the horrors of Motu Fedu will claim everyone, her, the crew, and even the rooster. Moana, not the crew, not even the rooster, sets sail. He exemplifies the qualities of an exceptional leader. She retorts, explaining to Maui that the ancestors' call to them implies a belief in the mission's feasibility. Despite Maui's warnings that his abilities may falter in these waters, she maintains her unwavering faith. Facing the sea, she wordlessly implores a sign. With unwavering faith, she faces the ocean, silently pleading for a sign. Then, a figure appears, reminiscent of her grandmother, but upon closer inspection, it proves to be something else entirely. It's a. With the stakes rising, Maui employs his shape-shifting powers, morphing into a diminutive shark to infiltrate the ocean and divert the monster's attention. Amidst the ensuing chaos, Mon near tragically perished, yet the crew's combined courage and collaboration ensured the survival of all other members. Nevertheless, the encounter leaves Moana consumed by guilt. Drifting in the vicinity, Moana discerns the remains of a time-worn canoe, a vestige of her forebears. It serves as a poignant evocation of bygone travels and selflessness. Lost in thought, doubts creep in as she questions whether leaving her island home was the right choice, her anxieties escalating as she worries about her friend's safety, leading her to contemplate abandoning her mission. Recognizing Moana's despair, Maui, brimming with his characteristic charm and confidence, prevents her from giving up by bursting into a motivational song. His words rekindle Moana's sense of self and her past achievement. He sings of her name as a beacon of hope, her courage as his inspiration, and their combined strength as an insurmountable power. Maui confidently proclaims herself the most accomplished navigator to have ever existed, capable of conquering any obstacle, regardless of its apparent impossibility. His words and the song's vibrant energy start to reignite Moana's inner spark. In the end, she rises, her resolve strengthened, and commits to completing the mission, for both her people and her own sake. Accompanied by her crew and Maui, she eagerly anticipates the next challenge, prepared for any eventuality. Maui's words inspire Moana and reinvigorate her crew. Back from the brink, Mon passionately recommits to the mission, while the team unites behind Moana, reinforcing the importance of everyone's contribution. Bound together by their common objective, they discovered a strengthened resolve to advance in unison. Sailing along, Maui quips that he's overdue for another island-lifting feat. As they neared Motu, a violent storm brewed ominously. With unwavering courage and decisive leadership, Moana assumes command, expertly guiding the ship through monstrous waves. Simultaneously, Maui employs his enchanted fishhook to morph into a multitude of beasts, soaring and plunging towards the tempest's eye, assuming the shape of a powerful hawk and other guises. He valiantly faces tornadoes that appear deliberately engineered to hunt humans. During the cataclysmic event, a tornado slams into Maui, violently throwing him against the vessel. Moana then realizes something critical. The storm's rage targets humans alone, and pointedly avoids Maui when he changes shape. Recognizing this as potentially life-saving, she rapidly devises a strategy. She persuades Maui to take advantage of this vulnerability, goading him into attracting the storm's core toward their location. This offers him an opportunity to access the island and complete his mission. Comprehending the immense weight of what's at stake, Maui consents, even though he knows a significant sacrifice will be necessary. Once again, he morphed into a colossal hawk, a towering and majestic figure silhouetted against the tempestuous sky. With unwavering resolve, he addressed the crew prior to departure, vowing to rendezvous with them on Motu Fetu for the mission's culmination, the island's ascent. Mission phase, island relocation operation. Fueled by a fervent cry of hope, he ascends into the tempest, entrusting Moana and her crew to confront the turmoil with unwavering resolve. Amidst the raging storm, Moana and her team orchestrate their efforts with meticulous precision, every member assuming crucial responsibilities. Despite their skillful and brave navigation through the relentless tornadoes, the situation worsens rapidly. Far off, Moana spots Maui reaching Motu Fetu. Employing his formidable hook, he commences the arduous labor of raising the island, only to be met with fierce resistance from Nalo, the malevolent god who is determined to thwart him. From the chaotic storm, Nalo hurls bolts of lightning at Maui, each strike more powerful than the previous, yet Maui, with immense fortitude, endures. Moana understands that she needs to interact with the island to unlock its magic and achieve her fate. The situation escalates catastrophically when a direct, high-intensity lightning strike impacts Maui. He falters, appearing noticeably frail. Although racked with pain, Maui remains steadfast. Yet, Moana's cry for assistance is met by a catastrophic lightning strike, plunging the crew into the tumultuous sea and scattering them amidst the ensuing pandemonium. Despite her dazed state, Moana struggles to guide her team to safety amidst the chaos. The devastating loss of the starfish Samia gifted her prompts a profound re-evaluation of her decisions. Beset by guilt and gnawing doubts, she questions whether abandoning her island home was an error, and fears she has endangered her crew by steering them into such a perilous situation. The crew, similarly distraught, starts to despair. A few even lament their decision, certain they are doomed. Yet, even in her deepest despair, Moana recalls the words that have long sustained her. There's always another way. Gathering all her resolve, Moana finds her balance. Breathing deeply, she contemplates the ocean, acknowledging its familiar embrace. Despite her injuries, she refuses to succumb to fear. Her community, her heritage, and her team are all depending on her success. Filled with newfound resolve, she urgently calls out to her scattered crew, galvanizing them into action. She evokes the memory of their ancestors' unwavering trust, and how their collective power can overcome any obstacle, be it natural or divine. With gradual steps and unwavering conviction, her words rekindle hope within them, fortifying their resolve to confront the challenges yet to come. Moana looks back at Motu Nui, where Maui is still locked in an epic battle with the raging Te Ka. Although the challenges ahead loom large, she resolutely grips the rudder, her gaze fixed and unwavering, a fierce determination burning within, making retreat unthinkable. She is prepared to accept her fate, regardless of the consequences. Filled with renewed courage, Moana declares to her crew that finding Maui is essential, and they must not give up. Immediately, she plunged into the ocean, stroking powerfully towards the island, oblivious to any lurking threats. Reaching the ocean's profound depths, she unearths an extraordinary rock, the heart of the island. Gathering the dregs of her strength, she reached out to touch the rock, only to be struck senseless by Nalo's sudden and violent lightning. As the storm weakens, a strange stillness descends upon the landscape. Perceiving an approaching transformation, Maui urgently embarks on a quest to locate Moana. Discovering her inert form beneath the surface, he lifts her towards the light. Devastated and pleading, he pours his anguish into a mournful ballad, begging her to awaken. Suddenly, Moana was surrounded by her ancestors, who appeared in a burst of warm, radiant energy. The echoes of fallen astronauts resonate in a hopeful, celestial chorus. Leading the ensemble, her grandmother's melody forms a poignant link between generations. In a truly enchanted moment, the ocean shimmers, infused with their vibrant energy, as the light flows into Moana. With a gradual awakening, she opened her eyes, vibrant and overflowing with renewed strength. When Moana awakens, she is met with the sight of her ancestors, Maui, and the spirit of her grandmother. Even though Maui faces no physical danger, the disappearance of his tattoos signifies a broken link with the divine. However, almost instantly, the tattoos resurface individually, each symbolizing his courage during this fresh ordeal. His enchanted hook is also restored, its magic reinvigorated by their connection and the sea. Moana's grandmother imparts a final piece of wisdom, reminding her that they are eternally connected and that self-knowledge will prevent her from ever being truly alone. In honor of her triumph, Moana is bestowed with a radiant tattoo upon her arm and a unique artifact representing her voyage. Having regained his full strength, Maui aids Moana in liberating the island while she performs the ritual, ultimately ending Nal's curse. As they traversed the newly formed island, they unearthed a map illustrating numerous other islands, among them Motunui and one plainly labeled home. Soon, individuals journeyed from distant lands, happily reconnecting and building a flourishing community. Subsequently, Maui revisits Moana's island, delivering a unique present to Saa, a telescope originating from Moda Fetu. He advises her to employ it for viewing her sister's victorious homecoming. Completely overcome with excitement, Saa rushes towards Moana, and they embrace each other tightly. Overjoyed, Moana's parents greeted her return, filled with pride and gratitude for her accomplishments. The film reaches its climax with a lavish festival, the whole village singing in unison to celebrate a fresh start filled with unity and promise. The post-credits scene reveals Matangi facing an enraged Nalo, furious at Moana's success in reaching Motu Fetu and liberating the island. Harboring suspicions of treachery, he vehemently demands answers. Though exhausted and defeated, Matangi maintains her debt was settled by her extensive time in prison. Nalo, smirking cruelly, chains her once more, declaring, "This is just the beginning." Suddenly, Tamatoa, a crab now noticeably missing a claw, emerges, declaring his own desire for revenge against Moana. Cackling menacingly, Nalo schemes his next gambit, preparing for another exhilarating escapade. The screen dissolves into darkness, the narrative unresolved. Consult additional resources for a comprehensive understanding.